Making a Chef is brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi and Methodist Senior Services.
Pasta might seem like a daunting task, but I'm gonna show you how to make easy, simple homemade ravioli with my 5-ingredient pasta dough. Let's get started. So this recipe starts off with 3 cups of flour, plus about a tablespoon or so of salt. I'm using a food processor just because it's convenient and it's fast. You can do this by hand or in a machine like I am doing. So the 3 cups of flour is in the mixer with a little bit of salt. I'm just gonna go ahead and aerate it real quick by pulsating it 3 to 4 times. I like to aerate the flour before I start, just it makes it a little easier and all compresses it down, so it's just easier for me. This is 3 egg yolks I'm adding, and 2 eggs, 2 whole eggs. Depending on how much flour you use, you might have to add less or more eggs or egg yolks, oops. And I'm adding about a tablespoon or so of olive oil. That was a heavy tablespoon. Now I'm gonna blend this together till it forms a rough ball. All right, looking at consistency, it's pretty dry, so I'm gonna add a couple more tablespoons of olive oil, and I'm also gonna add in some water. And I'm just gonna start off by adding, a 1/4 cup or so, just a little bit. Keep on adding water and olive oil until you form a rough dough ball. Okay, that looks perfect. So, I'm gonna dump this out on the counter, and be careful for this blade, it is sharp. Now it's time to knead the dough. So I just have a little bowl of flour. I'm gonna flour all the sides, just so it doesn't stick. It is quite sticky. So the reason I'm kneading is to form some gluten strands. Gluten is what gives you a good pasta dough, and you can't really get this with the machine. Besides, it's quite fun. So my preferred form of kneading is different. I like to roll it on itself just to form a little ball, so it's constantly creating new surface tension. Though you can do the classic method, which is flattening it out, folding on top of itself, and squishing down. But that is really good with a wet dough. Since this has enough flour worked into it, not quite so good as a dry dough. What I like to do is I like to make a little disc like this, flatten it out, and then I'll show you from the bottom first. I like to fold it on itself while twisting it, sort of forming a ball. This does take a little bit of practice, but practice makes perfect, and you have a big old ball of dough, plenty to practice on. All right? So once you have that, notice how I have all the ends on the bottom. Squeeze up like that. Forms a little ball, and it's sealed. And I like to just push that stuff into there, roll it in a little bit more flour. All right, right before I set it to the side, I'm gonna show you a neat little trick. Press down on your pasta dough, and if it springs back up like that, you're good to go. You do need to rest your dough for about 30 minutes to an hour. You can rest in the refrigerator. Since I'm gonna use it here in a couple minutes, I'm gonna rest it on the counter. The dough's rested for about 20 minutes. It still has a spring to it, but you can just feel it. I mean, it's beautiful. So, my methodology for cutting up and dividing pasta, quarters. It's easier to work that way. Too much will clog up the machine. Too little won't give it anything to bite on. Set these to the side. And I'm just gonna put on a little more flour, just to lightly flour it up, because that can get extremely sticky in there. I like to form this into a rough rectangle or so, and pull out one side so it's thin, compared to this side. I don't know if you can see, it's thick. Then, first things first, you need to have your pasta machine on the lowest setting you can go. And I like to put the thin side in first, just so, and at least in my pasta machine, it bites better. There we go. So normally I like to have 2 hands, but this is TV. 1 hand rolling and 1 hand pulling it out has to do. What I like to do, flour it on the inside, and fold it into thirds. Folding into thirds to create nice layers so it gives you better texture in the mouth. And I'm gonna do that 3 times. Here we go. This is gonna be a nice long piece of pasta, so it'll be a little difficult to roll out. But then again, you have to pay a price for deliciousness. All right, if my calculations are correct, I lost count. I'm pretty sure this is the 3rd time. There we go. So I'm just gonna square it off a little bit. Save that to the side, let it rest. If you have extra pasta, when you cut it off, let it rest and do that last. Easier that way, easier on the machine, easier on you. All right, flour up both sides because it's starting to stick in there. I can just feel it. Now it's time to move up the pasta machine by 1 setting, making it a little bit thinner. You don't have to use a hand crank pasta machine. It is really nice and it's really cool. You can roll it out by hand. It's harder, but you can still get a good result from it. Each time you roll it out, make sure you go up a number. It makes it thinner and thinner to get the perfect thickness. Right now I'm on number 4, and I like to stop about 5 or 6 on ravioli. Oh yeah, that's nice and thin. You can just about see my hand through it. All right, this is a little difficult to handle. Cut it in half. 4 is where I stopped on this sheet. So, let me flour it up a little bit, set it to the side, and I'll roll it out. I have to put a little flour in about this point because it's really thin in there. If it sticks and you get stickage, you're in a bad place. Ooh, yeah, that's paper thin. Ooh. Now that I have this first strand done, I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the second one and we can stuff it. Hey y'all, I hope you liked it. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe and turn on the little notification bell right by the subscribe button. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see you next time.